Hello and welcome to my little world. So I've been doing all things spring in my doll village lately, and we're getting ready for Easter next week, and I'll have a special video for that. But this week I decided that I wanted to make some fairies, because what's more springy than fairies? Flower fairies. And so when I was living in Hawaii, I lived in my car for 1.5 years, and I decorated my car and I turned it into the fairy mobile. So I went to the library and I found all these beautiful magazines with pictures of orchids in them, orchids of all kinds, and I decoupaged them on the inside of my car. And then I made fairies out of fake flowers, artificial flowers, I guess you should call them. And I hung them from the ceiling of the car, and it was a lot of fun and it made me happy. And I wish that I had more pictures left from that time, but I just have this one to show you what one of the fairies looked like. So let's see how I made fairies this week. And I also made a couple of dresses and a new outfit for one of the boys. So let's take a look, and shout out to Yumika and Tora-chan. And welcome to everybody who's here today. Let's get started. I've been making chocolates this week. I've never done this before. My mother-in-law used to make beautiful chocolates for holidays. And so I thought I would try it this week. I got some molds and candy from Hobby Lobby, and they worked out pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with them. So I made some with candied fruit and raisins. I made some mint flavored. I made some stuffed with dried maple sugar. The bunnies have Jelly Belly jelly beans in them. The eggs have ground up Oreo cookies in them. And then over here, these have marshmallows in them, and then the little ones are flavored with mint. I found these beautiful pastel-colored wooden beads and wire chenille sticks, crafting sticks, at Hobby Lobby, so I brought them home so I could make some fairies with them. So I have a few 100 flowers in my house. So I picked a few of them that I thought would make some nice fairies. I took all the different layers apart of each flower. They have a stem part and holes in the pieces that all fit onto the stem, and plastic pieces. So then I took 2 chenille sticks and 1 bead, and folded 1 chenille stick in half and put the bead on top of it. Then I took the other chenille stick and folded it in half and wound it around the middle of the other stick. Then I wrapped the side piece back to the middle and twisted it around to attach it, and did the same with the other side, and then flattened them. The head wasn't attached yet, so I took it off to put this little plastic piece on around the neck for the collar. Then I added this white plastic piece around the waist. Then I put this green leaf section underneath that and stacked 4 flower petals in descending order and pushed those onto the chenille sticks. So here is the fairy. Isn't she pretty? I attached some little flowers to her feet and also glued on her head and a headpiece and a little loop so that I could hang her, and arrange the arms, bent the arms into a pose. And here's the blue fairy. I put these little plastic pieces on her feet so she looks like she's on point. And she has leaves for wings and a little hat. Here's the yellow fairy. I didn't like the color of the chenille stick, so I tried to cover it up on this fairy because it was kind of a neon green color. But she also has beautiful wings, and she's made with 2 flowers. This peach-colored fairy also has flowers on her feet, and she has some of those plastic pieces and some flower petals for her wings, and a flower on the top of her head. This is the white fairy with a green chenille stick. She has flowers on her feet, and I used a couple different flowers to make her dress, some leaf wings, and a crown. And here's a red fairy, and she also has these little kind of like chicken feet, but they don't need them to walk on because they fly most of the time. She has leaves for wings and a pretty flower on top of her head, and these little red plastic pieces, and 2 different flowers, a ruffly one and a rose. Here is my lavender rose fairy. She has little flowers on the bottoms of her legs for feet, a beautiful rose and a bud for the top of her dress, leaf wings, and a little crown. I hung the fairies in the fig tree in the doll village. Well, my poor baby did a faceplant on my tile floor. Rather hazardous for having a porcelain doll village here, but we try to be careful. But I have used E6000 to glue in this forehead piece that broke off. And then I have a couple pieces, and then I may use some clay or something else to put up here. But I think he will survive, and the pieces went together pretty well. And now I have a rubber band clamping it together. So poor baby, hope he feels better soon. I embedded those 2 little pieces into where I thought they fit in the hole, and then I took some clay. This is the clay that I used to make the wall that goes outside the brick townhouse, and I have covered over the hole, and once it dries I'll sand it and maybe paint it. We'll see where it goes from there, but most of this will be covered up by his hair. So I sanded the clay and put wood glue on top of it, and then put his hair over it and kind of glued his hair down there, and I think he looks good now. You may not have noticed before, but my halberdier is actually injured as well. He fell one time, and a piece came, or a couple pieces came out of his face, and I glued them back. And then I just added this little Band-Aid over the hole that was left. And he gets along fine. So here's the cowboy, almost as good as new. You can see where he's been fixed, but you have to get awfully close to see anything. So he has changed clothes with the errand boy. So he's wearing the pants and vest that the errand boy was wearing. And then I made new pants and a vest that I put on the errand boy. And I had this vest on the cowboy last week, but I made these pants to go with it. And the pants fit the little errand boy better. Plus, I wanted to change his clothes as well. So here's the little vest, and I just glued on the flaps and put tacky glue around the edges to fray check them because I didn't feel like sewing them. But the vest is sewn and the pants are sewn also. So they're ready for spring activities. I also worked on these two dolls this week with new dresses. I think this white one is so pretty with all the different lace. And she's usually being driven in the carriage. She was the one who was in at the dressmaker's last week. And then this dress, I haven't finished yet. The sleeves will be the gingham, and it will be two-piece because I already made the skirt separate. You can tie it on and then put the top on top of it. So that'll have to wait for next week. And so that's it for this week. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye-bye.